talk, shy it, shut up, day, let up, shut up, shout talk.
Y'all, come on, clap your hands, show them tenors, come on. Come on, y'all, clap your hands. Come on, I'm just waiting for y'all to put your hands together. Come on. Listen. What a mighty God we serve. What a mighty God we serve. Angels bow before him. Heaven and earth adore him. What a mighty God. Yeah, 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 yeah. What a mighty God. Anybody know he's a mighty God? What a mighty God. What a mighty God we serve. Everybody clap your hands. Here we go, say it, y'all. What a mighty God we serve. What a mighty God we serve. Angels bow before him. Heaven and earth adore him. What a mighty God. He's a mighty God, a mighty God. What a mighty God. He's a mighty God, he's a mighty God. What a mighty God. What a mighty God we serve. To support our life, say, he's wonderful. He's wonderful. He's glorious. He's glorious. He's a mighty God. He's a mighty God. And that's not all, but say, he's powerful. He's powerful. Invincible. Invincible. He's a mighty God. He's a mighty God. Oh, oh, oh. He's awesome. He's awesome. Incredible. He's a mighty God. Mighty God. What a mighty God we serve. Come on, Nikki. Y'all clap your hands. Come on. If you know he's a mighty God, ooh, oh. Come on now, so say it. Mighty God. Yes, he is. Mighty God. Yes, he is. Mighty God. Yes, he is. I know he's a mighty, mighty God. Yes, he is. Mighty God. Yes, he is. Mighty God. Yes, he is. I know he's a mighty, mighty God. Yes, he is. Mighty God. Yes, he is. Mighty God. Yes, he is. I know he's a mighty. Yes, he is. 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 He's powerful. He is wonderful. He's a mighty God. Yes, he is. I gotta praise in my spirit. I gotta praise in my spirit. He's done so much for me. He died on Calvary. Come on, put your hands together. He's done so much for you. Come on, put your hands together. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. What a mighty God we serve. Come on, clap your hands. Can I get some of y'all to do that with them? Come on. 'Cause I can't do it.
What's going on, good people? It is your man, Demetrius Toll-Free. It is another day's journey, and I am super glad about it. It is another great time for Shop Talk. I want to first of all say Happy New Year to everyone who is hanging out with us, whether you're watching us live here on Facebook or YouTube, or if you're listening to us on one of our radio partners from around the country. We want to first of all say welcome to the show. Secondly, I want to tell you Happy New Year to those who have not talked to or seen yet in this brand new year. It's a new year. a new time of opportunities, a new time of possibilities. Listen, you can make whatever happen that you want to happen, but do me a favor. Whatever mistakes, whatever things that you learned last year, don't bring the same issues into the new year. Listen, use this as a platform, as a stepping ladder to get you to the next level in God. It's going to be a great year. And I don't know about you, but I'm already happy and excited about it. For those of you who did not know, my name is Demetrius Tollfree. How do you know? Because it says so right there on the screen. Again, you can always hit me up on social media everywhere at D Tollfree, at DTOLEFREE. And listen, I want to make sure that you reach out to me. If you reach out to me, you follow me. You know me, I follow back. I know that's not how social media is supposed to happen, but that's how I make it happen. If you follow me, I will definitely follow you back. That is on Facebook. That is on Instagram. That's on Twitter, X, if you still use it. Threads. Those of you who are familiar with Threads and so many other great places for social media. I am the same thing everywhere. Spill. I don't know. Are any of y'all hip to the Spill app? I'm still trying to learn it. Anyway, again on there, D Tollfree as well. We have an incredible show lined up for you. But before we do anything, do me a favor, get on the phone, call, text, tweet, Facebook, MySpace, Instagram, Social Cam, Periscope, Marco Polo. Do whatever you got to do. But you know who you got to tell. You got to tell your mama them, Ray Ray, Shay Shay, Day Day, Delicious Nim, Nut Nut Nim, Pojo Nim. Let them all know that we are live right now, right here on the Shop Talk family of networks. And again, we do have a great show lined up for you. Those of you hanging out, if you want to tag someone in the chat and let them know that you are hanging out with us, we would love to have you do it. Let me give some early morning shout out to some people hanging out. Shout out to Rosalind Alberti in the building. What is going on, Ros? Happy New Year to you. My little bro is in the building, David Logan from, well, I don't know where he actually lives, but his church is in Marin City here in California. Shout out to Ashland's almost bestie. The homie Stacy Williams is in the building. What up, though? Shout out to Tracy J. Wilson hanging out with us also on Facebook, and supposed to be sitting right here next to me, but is hanging out on, well, he's on YouTube today. My guy, Pancho Romero in the building virtually, even though I'm supposed to be having him right here, but I ain't gonna talk about it. I'm not gonna figure out what it is. You know, I'm sure if we was to call him, I know he would have a story on why he's not here, but it's okay. It's okay. We will make it happen, and looking forward to a great time. Again, those of you hanging out with us live, why don't you tag a friend or two or three and let them know that you are hanging out with us here on Shop Talk, and maybe they, along with you, will join us here in the building. It's all good. All right, y'all. I'm ready to make things happen. Let's get ready to, first of all, bring up our first co-host. I really don't know where she is. She'll just have to tell us. But our first co-host is in the building. Currently from, if you're from New Orleans, she's on the road. Yes, if you're from New Orleans, she's on the road. She's in her car on the road. You have to be from New Orleans to understand that. But my homie is in the building, incredibly talented, always doing something, making things happen, and taking things to the next level. My homegirl and yours, Ashlyn Tara Cole in the building. Girl, what in the world is going on?
Well, I'm in the great city of Fairfield, California, driving. We had a change in schedule, and that's what we do. You got to be on pivot sometimes to do the Lord's work, and so I'm doing the Lord's work today. But I'm glad to be on here. I hope you all can hear me. That it's not like I'm underwater because yeah, we're way out here in Fairfield. If you know
No, actually,
if you know
you actually sound
California.
good. No,
Oh,
you sound
good.
good. Yeah. So you're straight.
Okay,
So
good. Okay,
that's good
good.
stuff. So first of all, Happy New Year to you. I haven't seen
Thank
you yet
you.
in the new year, but we are glad to have you hanging out with us. And your shirt says just what?
Just execute.
Oh, well, now if that isn't a good statement to start out the year, I mentioned a couple of days ago or last week as we were talking about some things. I mentioned that I plan to be intentional in this new year. So in me being intentional in this new year and the things that I do, you're right, actually. You're being prophetic and you didn't even know it. All I need to do is what? Just execute. Girl, listen,
Come
you
on.
got things going on and you didn't even know it. You blessing me already. I'm glad to
Look,
have you out
come
with
on,
us.
because how many times do we have a great idea or we have a great thought, but we don't take the extra time to make a plan,
Yeah,
right? It's like a hope or a dream without a plan is just a wish. And we
yes.
ain't in here wishing for things to happen in 2025. You got to just execute. And it's okay to analyze. It's okay for you to be detail oriented. It's okay for you to even have fears or doubts or anything like that. But God didn't give you the spirit of fear or doubt. So hold to God's unchanging hand and literally just execute. Just go get it done. That's it.
I love it. I love it. That's good stuff. Listen, I'm glad to have you hanging out with us. Don't you go nowhere. Let's get ready to bring up our next guest co-host. I believe still in the ATL. He might be working and he might be on his lunch with us, but nonetheless, he's here and he's ready to make things happen. Yes, you know I'm going to do it. You know I've got to make things happen because my guy is in the building. He's the only one of us that has. I got to fix it. I got to get some theme music, but he is the only one of us that has theme music. And yes, he is in the building. Get ready to bring him up without further ado, my guy. You know him, the Hallelujah Morning Man himself. Demetrius Hunter in the building. Demetrius, man, Lord have mercy. What is going on?
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, hallelujah, morning to everyone out there in Freedom Radio Land, Shop Talk Land, and in the world. I'm happy to be here on another great edition of Shop Talk. Yes, I am standing here on my break. We're all just in movement today, but I am here nonetheless, and I am ready to get this show underway. I'm here. I'm clear, and I'm ready.
Well, that is awesome. I'm glad to have you hanging out with us. And I'm praying today. I am praying today in this new year with me having Ashlyn and Demetrius. I'm praying today that we're putting our
Well,
boxing gloves down, our
let,
verbal
let me let me
gloves
say
down.
this.
We're going to have
Let
a
me say
great
this.
show.
Let me say this, because I think our listeners deserve to hear what happens behind the scenes. Demetrius and I love and respect each other. We have for many, many years. There is no thing, no person, no disagreement, no nothing that is ever going to change that. Demetrius and I are connected by so many things. First of all, it's my brother in Christ. But besides the fact that God has put me in his life and him in my life, we are both healed from cancer. That binds us together because we have a testimony of healing. But there's nothing, no subject, no nothing that could ever break that. So when the show was over yesterday, we laughed, we said I love you, and y'all only saw what happened on the air. So I just want y'all to know that a healthy conversation, and I wish more people would do this in relationships. I really do. I wish that you would realize that the problem is the problem, not the person. The person is not the problem. The problem is the problem. And so Demetrius and I, we disagreed about something, and we're both passionate about it. That's wonderful. But it doesn't mean that there's a problem with that person. There's not a problem with me or a problem with him. It was just a conversation. So I want y'all to know that we're okay, so you can be okay, and you don't have to keep texting me and texting him. We have nothing but love for one another.
It is all good. I love all of you. And yeah, it's all good. It's a new year. We're going to make everything happen. First of all, before we get going, we do have another co-host. And before we jump into anything else, let me give a couple quick shout outs and tell you, I did not tell you guys this last week. I told you I was doing something starting this new year that I've never done. And as soon as I give these shout outs, I'll tell you what I've done. But let me give a shout out to Brenda Irvin, who is in the building. We also have Auntie Pooey, Adrian Johnson in the building. We also have Pastor William or Pastor Bill Carter up in Sacramento, also hanging out with us, and as well as the homie Candace Cowan in the virtual building today. Glad to have all of them hanging out. We do have another co-host I will bring up in just a second. But last week I was telling you guys that I was starting this year out doing something that I have never done before. Not that I can recall. I don't think not that I can recall. So in this brand new year, many of you know that I play and I am the minister of music at Glad Tidings International in Hayward, California. As of this week, I have been at that church for 24 years as a musician, and I think it's been 10 or 15. So I don't know how many years I've been a minister of music, but I've been there as a musician for 24 years, and grateful to do that. But this year, a few weeks ago, I got a phone call unexpectedly. And when I got the call from this person, they asked for my assistance for something, whether it's short term or long term, only the Lord knows that. When that call came, I said, you know what? I've been telling people no for so long. In this new year, I'm going to start telling people yes. And Bishop Anthony Willis called me from Lily of the Valley Christian Center in Oakland, California, and said that he needed some musical assistance, said he needed a musician. And he called me to come to be their musician. I just started this past Sunday. I was there. We had an amazing, amazing time. And so now I'm doing two roles. I'm playing at Glad Tidings, and now I'm playing at Lily of the Valley simultaneously. And so I'm doing some things to make some things work. And hopefully, shout out to Pastor Lanier Akins out in Fresno, another musician and pastor and singer and a great man of God. Hopefully, the Lord will bless me to keep doing what I'm doing and do it for a long, long time. So shout out to Auntie Pooey and all the people, Bishop Anthony Willis, everyone over at Lily of the Valley who welcomed me with wonderful open arms. And we had an amazing time. Looking forward to doing it again this coming Sunday. All right, y'all. With all of that said, get ready now to bring up our next co-host, fresh from the streets of Rome, hanging out with us back in now Charlotte of North Carolina. My homegirl is back in here, and she's here to make it happen. Don't call her sis. I can, but don't y'all do it. Let's get ready to bring up my homegirl, the incredibly talented and gifted from many avenues, from graphics and media, as well as just an incredible vocalist. And because of her mama and her daddy, she's an all-around smart person. The incredibly talented Yolanda Wild Praise Morant back in the building. Yolanda,
Hey.
girl, what is going on?
Hey, good afternoon. Well, good morning on your side. Hope y'all are good and having a good day.
All is well. We welcome you back, first of all, to the show, but more importantly, back to the United States of America. And we are glad to know that you are safe and sound. And look
Thank
like
you.
from what I saw, looked like you had a great time. So welcome back.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, I won't
Absolutely.
prolong so we can talk about whatever you want us to
It's
talk
all
about.
good. Now, you know I have a laundry list of things to talk about. So let's get ready to jump into today's show. Now, before we jump into it, people have been texting me. Let me just put details up here. People have been texting me, asking me about what is that? What's going on? So we've been having some new viewers, and people hit me up in all kinds of ways, and texts and instant messengers and DMs and all kind of stuff. What up to Jacory Prothro, who I was looking for to be, but anyway, I know he's been in Las Vegas. But anyway, people have been asking me about the hoodie and all that kind of stuff. Listen, I don't have to be the only one to have it. Let me show you. I don't know. Was it Ashton that told us? Was it Dito that told us? I don't know. Let's find out. We'll be right back with more, y'all, literally right after this.
Hey everyone, this is Demetrius Tollfree from your favorite radio show, Shop Talk, where literally no person or subject is off limits, with some great information that you want to hear. As you know, the season is starting to change from summer to fall and winter, and we don't want you to be left out in the cold. With that said, this is a perfect time for you to get your freedom gear. We have hoodies in an array of sizes and colors, both pullover and zip up. And we recently introduced some FDR beanies that will keep your head warm as well. As an added bonus, we have added some other great items in our store, such as AirPod cases, iPhone cases, masks, wireless chargers, hats, water bottles and mugs, and of course, t-shirts. Simply go to freedomradio.com/shop or open up the Freedom Radio app on your Apple or Android device and click the FDR Gear icon. Thank you so much for your continued support, and we know that freedom looks good on you.
And we are back. Welcome back to Shop Talk, everyone's favorite show right here on everyone's favorite network, the Shop Talk family of networks. First of all, those of you who are hanging out, if you have not done so, we'd love to have you follow us, the Shop Talk team, on Instagram. We are there on Instagram at FDR Shop Talk. Again, at FDR Shop Talk. Would love to have you follow us. And again, we're learning. If you follow us, we'll follow you back. We'll make things happen and do all that we can to push this whole thing forward. All right, we're going to bring everybody's names up on the screen, and I will fix that as we go. But listen, today we have got a lot of stuff to make happen. So listen, as we get ready to go forward, I think I got everybody's. Yolanda, I'll fix yours. But listen, we have some things we want to talk about. First of all, you know what I'm going to do? I got to do my normal, which is I got to get out my National Day and my birthdays. And I'll do them both quickly. It's all simple. Listen, for those of you hanging out, today's National Day, we only got 3. I made sure I put up 2 fingers, but it's 3. We only have 3 national days. I will make them quick. Today, first of all, is Ashlyn. I thought about you when I saw this. Today is National Career Coach Day. National Career Coach Day. So those of you who have a career coach, or if you are a career coach, this is the day that we celebrate you. So if you're looking to advance your career or trying to still figure things out, and first of all, you're never too old to make an adjustment to your career. It's not like it was many years ago where people work the same job 40 and 50 years. Listen, don't worry about that. If you need guidance in your career, or if you already have a coach, listen, celebrate them on today. Take a time just to text them and say, hey, thank you for being who you are and helping me in the way that you do. Secondly, this one was funny, but it's this. I also thought about Ashlyn. I even thought about you, Yolanda, in this one, because today is National Bubble Bath Day. National Bubble Bath Day. Listen, I don't mind. Ashley, you don't like to take a bubble bath? That's not you?
I don't take baths. I don't. I'm a shower person. I do not sit in the bath.
I got nervous.
No, I don't do it. Now, if I have like my sister has a hot tub. Okay, so I'll sit in a hot tub. That's different. But I will not sit in a bathtub. You just sitting in your own. You think you got to take a shower first and then sit in the tub and then take a shower after? That's too much water. I'm good.
You know what? I can't. Anyway, today is National Bubble Bath Day. Huh?
You should take a shower after you take a bath.
You could do either or. You could do both.
I gotta take a shower. Like I bathed before, but like when you see that like residue in the tub, like that ring, it's like, did that water just go back on me?
So normally when you see the water and the residue, like you're always mentioning, that for many people, not pointing out anybody, but for many people, that means that it's been a little while since you've been in there. I'm gonna let that go. Last but not least, today is National Argyle Day. So those of you who like Argyle prints, whether it's socks, sweaters, whatever it might be, today is National Argyle Day. So this is the time for you to be able to make those type of things happen. All right, y'all, let's keep things going. Let's now get ready for today's birthdays. And I only have 3. Today, many of you have come in contact with this young lady over the last few movies that she has done. Incredible actress. Hopefully I pronounced her name right, but I think it's Cynthia Erivo. Cynthia Erivo, incredible actress and singer. She can sing as well. Today is her 38th birthday. Next to last, David Bowie. Many of us must remember the incredible singer, David Bowie. He was born in 1947. and he passed in 2016. But today would have been his birthday. If my math is right, today would have been his 79th birthday. I think that's right. 79th birthday today would have been. And then last but not least, Elvis Presley from Memphis, Tennessee. Today would have been his birthday, born in 1935, passed in
Oh,
1977. I was a
that's
young,
my guy. Oh my
yeah, Elvis Presley. I'm all shook up. Today would have been his 90th birthday. Today would have been his 90th birthday. So,
wow.
Ashton, I know you're driving, but you know how to multitask. This is where I throw it out to you to be an encouragement to someone who's having a birthday during this season. Ashley.
Absolutely. And a fun fact about David Bowie, if you didn't know this, but he had a huge hand in Luther Vandross's career, getting him started. Luther sang backgrounds for him, as well as many, many, many. Y'all should watch the CNN documentary. But anyway, look, birthdays are to be celebrated. And I'm going to be talking to myself today because my birthday's coming up next month, and I'm not really thinking about celebrating. And so my daughter is like, no, we're going to celebrate you. And it just reminded me of how many other people probably think, oh, it's not a big deal. It's just another day. But it literally is the day that God thought about the entire world to bring us you. He thought about all of us. He thought about when you were born and who your mom would be and who your dad would be. And maybe you don't know them, and maybe you were in foster care. Maybe you had a stepfather like myself. But God thought about you. He thought about how you would be today, and he did all the things to prepare you for now. So remember that God created you, and so celebrate him on your birthday in the least. But if there's people that want to celebrate you, let them celebrate you on this special day, okay? Just tell me where to be and what time to be there, what I should wear, and I'll be there. Try that and see. And that might be something to help you get out of this. It's just another day spirit. Amen. We love you from all of us here at Shop Talk and all of our affiliates. Happy birthday.
Appreciate that, Ashton. Good stuff. Listen, we're going to keep things going. And as we do so, first of all, allow me to make sure that I fix this for our guy, Just Michi. And that is, I want to make sure that you see everyone's Instagram. Now, mine is on there at DTollFree, at DTOLEFREE. Ashland's is on there as well. Ashland is it dot on Instagram, Ashland.co. Yolanda Morant is just her name, Yolanda Morant, as you can see. Last but not least, Demetrius Hunter is just_Michi, and we've got that on the screen as well. Listen, I want to get ready to jump in. We got a couple things we want to talk about, but I want to just revisit one thing that we mentioned last week as we close the show, and that is we talked about in brevity. You got to keep that word in your back pocket, in brevity. In brevity, we talked about artists and musicians and business owners and all that kind of thing, making sure that you have all formats of payment available to your constituents, to the people who will be sending you money. Don't think that your preferred method of payment is the only one that people use or that everyone has that available. You don't want to miss out on any kinds of funds in this season. And so for that reason, make sure you have your Cash App set up. Make sure you have Venmo set up. A lot of people's now new preference is Zelle. It's all good, but make sure you have your Zelle set up. People still use PayPal. Make sure you have your PayPal available, as an option. It doesn't have to be your preferred method, but if people say, this is where I have my money, make sure that you have that available. And last but not least, you know that there now is a tap to pay option when you are in person. Ashley, I see you getting my attention. Go right ahead, young lady.
I wanted to just add quickly to make sure that you understand their fee structure. Make sure whatever platform you use, you understand their fee structure, because if somebody makes a payment, let's say of $100, and they take $3 or whatever the fee is out of that, and then you circle back and you go back to that person to ask them to pay the fee, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. What you do is you cushion the fee into what you're asking for your payment. So let's say you are asking for $100, that's your normal thing, but there's a fee, ask for $125. And then that'll cover your fees. But there's ways around that. But make sure that you understand the fees, because there's nothing worse then getting a $2,000 payment and they take $300 out, and you're not expecting that. So make sure that you do your research and find out how much the percentage is that they're going to take out of each transaction, and then you can choose not to use that platform if you don't want to pay fees. But make sure that you learn money is not money. It's not 100%. You got to find out. Sometimes they take 1, 2, 3, 5% of a fee out of what you're getting paid.
Absolutely, I agree with you, and I know Yolanda, as a business owner, I know that she uses different things. Now, again, I mentioned at the top of this, and I know Yolanda, you got something to say. I know that I mentioned at the top, your preferred payment method may not be available to whoever you're talking to. So I agree with Ashlyn. Make sure you know what the fees are, especially with PayPal and and Venmo. Those two in particular are ones that are notorious for getting those fees at the top, before you can get anything else sent to you. But Yolanda, I know you as a business owner, you probably have something to say about this.
I mean, to each his own. I will say this. Sometimes some people may be a little. So I understand that there are multiple ways to pay. Sometimes people may be skeptical if you're respectfully. Like, I have a lot of clients that use Cash App, but I also respect people's dollars. So I try not to take orders, if you will, if that's the right word, if you will, just for the sake of the conversation, that are over a certain amount through Cash App, because I want to protect your dollar. And so a lot of times I try to get people to do PayPal only because that actually controls, it actually protects your dollar and mine, right? So a lot of times, it's just as business owners, I highly suggest that you don't just send someone a request on PayPal, that you actually do an invoice, which will automatically include the fee so that you get the exact amount that you're billing, and then you can shift that tax amount a little bit to wherever you live or whatever have you. I mean, and it just protects now let me say this: you do have to be a integral person, because what can happen is, if you don't do the job or you don't fulfill it, and I'm saying this as, from having the bumps of being a business owner, and I'm just going to be transparent, in the past, not maybe performing as I thought I should have, that people can go to PayPal and request their money and get their money back. But what it does is it secures the customer, and it secures you, right? So recently, someone I know did a large purchase, and the vendor was saying, "No, we have Cash App." I was like, "It's too much money for you to run this purchase through Cash App. You shouldn't do that. Let's run the order through the PayPal, even if you're using it for me." Not saying I wouldn't do this for everybody, but I'm saying in the sense of that, because what we wanted to do was protect the purchase. Okay, that's super, duper duper important in this day. Because let's say, I don't know Ashlyn, I make a purchase to her for some bracelets, and then I don't get the bracelets. Let me tell you what Cash App is going to tell you. We're sorry. And your $100, okay, it's not saying, so first of all, let's not create a crazy narrative. She hasn't done anything to me, I haven't done anything to her. But I'm just using her as an example to say, if she wasn't integral, and then I made the $100 purchase, Cash App is going to tell you, we're so sorry, and you won't be able to get your money back, right? So in truth, without taking up all of this Freedom Radio time, I highly encourage, please do not send money to people you do not know, that you have not spoken to, that they don't have some type of track record. You can send your money to me, and man, I will highly use it to take it. But you also can track me. You can go online. I have a Facebook, I have an Instagram, I have a Twitter, I have a TikTok, not necessarily always used for business. I have a website. You can see my face. You can hear me talk. This is not AI. We are in a different day. We are in a different time. People were stealing in 1922. But now they can steal more than they used to. It is so much easier.
Yeah.
During the sake of I'm saying this last moment, right at the end of probably like November or so, I received I think I told y'all about this. I received a message from what seemed to be my actual blood cousin. And my cousin had never asked me for any money. She said, "Yolanda, I'm in a bind. Can you send me X, Y, and Z? And I'm going to just throw my own stuff out here." I didn't know that it wasn't her. And so when I said, well, what? You never asked me for any money. I said, tell me something I'm thinking most people won't know. Tell me my grandfather. Tell our grandfather's name. Oh, his name is Frank Earl Sr. Every question I had, they could answer. Let me tell you something. It was a whole scam. The person had went through my cousin's Instagram, through my cousin's Facebook, gathered multiple pieces of information. And they were somehow, I don't even know how they got my number. And somehow they were going through her Facebook, getting numbers, texting people, and they came up on mad cash. And guess what? Guess what Cash App said?
Sorry.
We're so sorry. We can't do anything for you. And when I posted it, I shared it because I didn't want that to happen to other people. It comes to find out this is a huge scam that people are running, where they find out people's information, they present themselves as a family member, and they were getting the thing. So what am I saying to you? Without taking up more of Mr. Tollfree's time, please be diligent, be careful. If someone says, I'll use myself for my own business, if someone says, yes, I will do a flyer for you, and you pay me through Cash App, but they have one post on their Instagram or Facebook, don't do it.
Yeah.
If you're destined to use that service, ask them if they have another payment method that is more secure. And that's even with Zelle, because Zelle opens you up to a different space to your account and things like that. So again, without being long, I just highly encourage people, please be careful as business owners. I just think it presents you as a higher level business owner when you have other payment methods. And then say this other part, don't get mad if people don't want to use Cash App, because Cash App is not necessarily the most secure thing. Right. Don't get mad if they don't want to use Venmo or Zelle, or if they have a specific payment method that you have to use through their website. A lot of times it's probably more secure, but just validate that they're a real person. Talk to them on the phone. If they don't want to talk to you on the phone, more than likely they're probably not legit.
Yeah, I like that. I think those are great things to mention. I think everything that you just mentioned is factual, both from your own personal experiences as well as experiences that I've heard from other people around the country. So thank you for sharing that information. I thought it was very, very much needed.
You're welcome.
All right, y'all. We're going to keep things going, and people have been hitting me up. I'm sure, Yolanda, people have been hitting you up. People have been texting me. Did you see? Did you hear? Did you see? Did you hear? About what happened at this particular church. I'm assuming that that was this past weekend when this happened, but
it was. Mm-hmm.
This whole big thing, and I don't have a video to play. I do, but I'm not gonna play it. But sure. Everyone has been talking about this instance that happened in this church, mm-hmm. where a pastor, and you all correct me if I bring this up incorrectly, but the gist of it is, pastor brings up a young lady who is pregnant out of wedlock. Mm-hmm. And if my memory, I didn't really, because everybody was talking about it, I didn't really want to get into it that much. But from what I gathered of it, did he make her apologize in front of the church or something of that nature? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he went old school, super old school, made her apologize in front of the church. I've seen it where they say that you've been overtaken by a fault, and they bring you up and they make you apologize. I've seen it. I've been there on both sides of the coin. I have seen it. I have experienced it. And I'm shocked to even hear or see someone still do that in 2025. Mm-hmm. Instagram blew up. Facebook blew up. People was talking about they wanted to have a baby shower for the young lady and mm-hmm. all kinds of things. Finally, the mother I think that's the mother that mm-hmm. finally chimed in on social media and said that they don't need any help, that she's in full agreement with the pastor. She's not mad or anything of that nature. Yolanda, it's 2025. I am floored that such a thing happens in America at this late stage in life and in the game. What's your thoughts on it?
Can we? You said we could be transparent or
absolutely
be cool about it, or just speak our thoughts. First, I want to be clear. I'm not attacking the pastor. That's not our goal, right? It was just, I hope I don't start crying. It was mad triggering. I don't know if I have all the first lady words today, because I went through a couple emotions, and no one's ever heard me cuss, but my walls did. I was triggered on so many different levels. I was
Yeah.
frustrated. I was upset. I was irritated. I was embarrassed.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I particularly get embarrassed about Black church sometimes. I feel like I'll be the Black church girl defender, because I know so many people that have so many issues that they've experienced in church, especially Black church. And I
Yeah.
felt like, oh, here we go again. Like what in the world? But when I saw it, I just thought, this is mad crazy. Hey, Miss Tracy, I just thought, this is just not cool. It was humiliating. It was shaming. It was so many things. I'm a person, like Demetrius probably knows about me. Demetrius made. I believe that things happen from a root, right? There was a guy who drove through a massive amount of people. I believe it was in New Orleans on New Year's Eve, right? So I don't think like, oh, he was just mad. No, no, no. You don't just wake up and say, I'm gonna drive through the crowd. Something happened, right? Something happened in the course of however many years or days or months that pushed you to that point. So I was thinking about the after effect of that situation for this girl. And I kept thinking, we may not see the results, and I'm not wishing this upon her, but maybe just the thought of this can happen, that we may not see today. Okay. We may not see today what that did, but that can have a long lasting effect on her. That can cause other effects down the road. And I even thought another part is, she may be quote unquote okay, but then the same thing could happen to her child.
Mm-hmm.
So she had a baby out of wedlock. She's shamed. Okay, all of that. And then her child ends up doing the same thing. I think, this is not a license, quote unquote, as people say, to sin. I'm just saying, people fall, people make mistakes. How do we get her to a place where she understands her value, her worth, and so this, quote unquote, doesn't happen again, versus standing her up in front of the whole church for people who weren't even there. They weren't there in the room. They weren't there when the Jodeci was played. They weren't in part. How do we why would we make her confess in front of these people? The Bible does say, confess your faults to one another. That's true, before somebody pulls that scripture out. However, I think you have to be careful to who you confess.
I'm
And
gonna say
so it
this.
just wasn't cool.
Allow me to say this, and I really was hoping that Pancho would have been here, but allow me to put his comment on the screen. I was there in Oakland at the church. I was there when Pancho had to go through this same thing.
Wow.
I've heard stories. My wife has told me stories at a church that she used to attend, where a young lady who was pregnant by a well-known pastor, that if I said the name, Ashlyn and Demetrius, and if Jacory was here, they would put their head down in shame if I mentioned the pastor's name. But this young lady was pregnant by this pastor, and the pastor of the church where the young lady went brought her up in front of the church and so-called silenced her. I had never experienced this before. And so she had to come to church for, I don't know, 3 months, 4 months, however long it was, sit on the front row and couldn't speak to nobody, couldn't have any interactions with nobody for a period of time. The pastor, who was still pastoring, who was married, got scot-free. Nobody said nothing. He just kept on preaching, kept on pastoring. Nobody mentioned nothing. We all know who the girl was pregnant by, but yet, I'm telling you, I personally have been through this, not to the degree that Pancho has been through it, and not to the degree that this young lady has been through it, but I personally, when Allegra got pregnant with my son, we were not married. We were not married, and the church that I went to, the pastor, he made a big deal out of it. He even started preaching about, if you're overtaken by a fault, that those who are holy should be able to restore this person. And I'm there in the church, and then all of a sudden at the end they want to bring me up, call me out by name, to bring me up for prayer because I have been overtaken in a fault. I'm telling you, I have seen it. Now, I'm not made like everybody else, so it didn't mentally scar me and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not made like everybody else, but I can't discount how the next person is made, or how the next person is going to react to them being shamed in this particular way. So Ashley, I mean, let me get your opinion on this thing has gone viral. It's gone crazy. And I'm like, there was a young lady in the Bible that Jesus ran across, and she had been with a few men in the city, and they was ready to stone this young lady, and they was ready to do bad. And when she started speaking to this woman and started telling her things that nobody knew but God himself. And then when they was getting ready to stone this woman, the same people that she had been around, the same people that she had been with, Jesus, with compassion, gets on his knees and writes in the sand. And he says, he without sin, let him cast the first stone. Listen, I promise you, I'm in no position to cast a stone on anybody. It is nothing but the grace of God that I'm still living, still have the activities of my limbs, and I can't be in that judgment seat, because judge not, lest ye be judged. Ashlyn, you're on mute, but tell me, I mean, what's your thought on this, my sister?
Oh yeah. I mean, this is like real church hurt. This is real church hurt on display for the whole world to see. And it went viral because it's ridiculous. It went viral because there's only a remnant of people that think that this is okay. There's only a very small percentage of people that think this is okay. And I get it. You know, we want to hold people accountable, make an example of this young lady, right? Maybe if we make an example of this young lady and we put her in front of the church, then maybe the next, young lady will think twice, or whatever. But where's the young man? If you're going to do this to her, why are you not doing it to him? It
Yeah,
takes two to tango. We know that.
yeah,
She didn't get pregnant all by herself,
yeah,
unless Jesus is coming back. But I don't, obviously by their behavior, I don't think that that's what happened. It was not an immaculate conception. So where's the young man? But here's the thing: why? If you look at the congregants that stood up, it's an
yeah,
old church. No judgment. No judgment. It's an old church. We need them old saints to keep us playing the tambourine in church. Okay, we need the old saints in the church, right? To bring that wisdom. We do. But there's a that's not the way. That's not the way. That's not the
yeah,
way.
yeah,
And to take time out of a teaching moment for the word, you're supposed to be bringing the word, and instead you're teaching us that shaming somebody who made a mistake is the way to go. I know that there's not one person in that congregation who is without sin, because we are sinful in our nature. God knew it. God designed us one way. Adam and Eve made a decision. It's affected us ever since. Okay, we're sinful in our nature, and so we need to be held accountable. But do those things behind closed doors. Shaming somebody is not the way to get them to change. They're already in the situation. They already made the decision. What you should have done is been educating them before they got into bed. You should have been talking to them about valuing themselves. You should have talked about the consequences of intimacy in that way, right?
yeah.
You could have done a preventative, but we're such a reactive society. We always wait till something bad happens and then we react instead of preventing the bad thing. I got to go on mute because the gardeners are here. But yeah, that is my 2 cents.
I hear you. I hear you, Demetrius, man. I mean, I know you grew up old school, like I grew up, and I know that
Yeah.
you've seen some things like I've seen. Tell me your thoughts on this, man.
I mean, I've actually been sat down. I've been sat down as a young minister, and I had to sit on the front row. I did not have to get up in front of the church and do an open confession because it wasn't done openly. Is the way my pastor explained it to me. It wasn't done openly, and so I didn't have to get up in front of the church and do an open confession. But I did get sat down. I couldn't sit with the ministers. I couldn't do sing on praise and worship. I couldn't sing in the choir, and I had to sit on the front row I had to be at Bible study. I couldn't miss Bible study, and I had to be at Sunday school. All this for a total of, I think I was to sit down for 6 months. If I can remember, it was 6 months. And so, that's what I did. And, I understood it. But I said it taught me a lesson. I was more so like, okay, because you just sat me down, but it was nothing else in that moment. I was already coming to Bible study. Sunday school, I wasn't really coming as much, but I was already coming to Bible study anyway. So, I even to this day, I still kind of was like, after this situation, even the person that was involved in the situation, me and her was talking, I was like, did you get anything out of that when it happened to us? She was like, I didn't get nothing. She said, it's like, what do we get? Like, I don't get the whole, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I was so young at that point to where, I didn't go see God. I guess that's what I was supposed to be doing. Like I wasn't walked through that process, but I mean, shaming somebody, some things are just embarrassing. And I want to say this at this modern day and time, because I don't agree with his methods, but I can't tell a pastor how to run his house. I definitely would never walk up on any pastor's church and address them in any way. We can have opinions, we can agree to disagree, but there has to be some tact.
Absolutely.
For me, I feel bad for the fact that she had to get up there and then him to say she can't have a baby shower. Like you really just pulled the support from the church. Someone that sent me an old clip of I don't know if it's old or new, of a service where someone was actually got up and confessed about her having a baby out of wedlock. But the pastor actually said, but we're going to wrap our arms around her, around you. We're going to love on you. This is now our baby. They didn't push her out. And I can get with that. Again, every pastor has their church denomination has their own rules about how they want to run their church. And I can't do that. I can agree to disagree, but I can't do anything else other than that. But yeah, that's just my stance on that.
Can I offer another thought too? Because I know we don't have a lot of time, but what the mother posted, I think it was first let me say this. I was so proud of us though. When I say us, I mean us as the faith-based community. I thought it was amazing how so many people were ready to come together to be of aid in any way possible. That was dope, because usually it's a lot of trash talk and I can't believe and but I thought it was cool how everybody was willing to find a way to be of aid. But I also think it was and part of me thought, oh God, was this a test for all of us today to see what we were doing? I just love how we responded in love, real talk. But I agree with what Demetrius. What happened was that someone showed up at the pastor's church to film and stuff like that. And that I agree with him. That wasn't cool, because that could have turned it into something else. And I think actually it makes it worse for the girl, because it can turn into this is what I'm saying. This is why you shouldn't have got pregnant, all of that. Mm-hmm. But I also say that the mother, I won't say what I really want to say, but I will say this: you can't help people that don't want to be helped.
Sure.
And so when they come and they say, no, we're good, and I stand with my pastor and so on and so forth, I mean, there's nothing we can do. Respectfully, I'm glad I didn't send a cash app. I understand it wasn't the correct cash app. And we don't know what would have been done with that money. You know what I mean? And I'm not there, but when I saw that women are sitting on the left and men are sitting on the right, that was a telltale story about the church in itself. And so there's no disrespect. I've never been there. I don't even know the pastor. I understand they're a huge kind of like fave on Instagram, stuff like that for the musical part of the church. But I also say it was just a lesson that you cannot help people who do not want to be helped. And some people like and they enjoy being sick, in the sense of they enjoy being stuck. And if to us, they're stuck, right? And so they may enjoy that. They may like that for whatever reason, for whatever purpose. And it's nothing you can do. But I did think it was really, really cool. I thought it was really cool how people were ready to be of aid and assistance. That was just really cool.
Yeah. I'm with you. And I mean, we got different comments coming in, different people who have gone through or have seen similar situations. I appreciate Tracy J. Wilson mentioning what she has experienced. And I'll put it back on the screen one more time. She says, I'm thankful that when she got pregnant with her daughter, her pastor at the time didn't do that. She said that her choir gave her a baby shower. She said she wasn't married at the time, but they did get married later that year.
Wow,
I
that's
get
cool.
it. Tony Timmons chimed in and he said, and I've seen it in churches over the years. Usually, if both parties weren't brought before the church, it meant that the person was not a member or not subject to the church leadership, meaning the other person. So a lot of things happen. I did see a pastor, another pastor, put forth a letter to the pastor that did the shaming. I believe Ashlyn has that letter available to us. So, Ashlyn, I want you to be able to read what another pastor said to the pastor that did the shaming. So, Ashlyn, the virtual floor is yours.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dito. Yep, this is the letter. It is titled An Open Letter to Pastor Terry Jackson. It is from Terrence Rogers Sr. And I won't read this whole thing, but I'll give you a synopsis. But it says, and I quote, I write this letter with a heavy heart, not to condemn, but to reflect and engage in dialogue about an issue that weighs on me. While some may argue that this is not representative of the Black church collectively, I cannot ignore how often single mothers are humiliated, ostracized, or rebuked under the guise of, quote, holiness is still right, end quote. The video of you standing behind the sacred desk, not to preach or teach, but to publicly rebuke a young unmarried woman who had recently learned she was pregnant, has stayed with me. Watching her stand teary-eyed as she apologized for being pregnant was heartbreaking. While you declared her child would not be celebrated and instructed her parents and the congregation to deny her a baby shower, I was deeply disturbed. Let me remind you of the African proverb that says, it takes a village to raise a child. After all, what did the baby do to be denied community support before even taking their first breath? So that's the opening 2 paragraphs. And then the final paragraph, there's a lot in between. If you were going to stand her up at all, it should have been to offer encouragement and resources. Because if the gospel is anything, Pastor, it is this: love, redemption, and hope for all. It is this: when we sin, and all of us will, we have an advocate with the Father. His name is Jesus Christ. Again, that is a letter by Terrence Rogers Sr. It doesn't say Pastor Terrence Rogers, so I'm not sure, Dito, if he's a pastor, but that is the letter. And I agree with that. I think that bottom paragraph, is this love? And that's the thing. If we don't go to the 1 Corinthians definition of love, then love is just going to be whatever. Love is patient and love is kind. Love doesn't brag or boast. Love doesn't shame, condemn, ostracize, all those things. If we don't learn what the actual definition of love is, God's love, and how God defines love, we just gonna think any old thing. A young lady is gonna think if he pays for dinner that's love. If a young lady thinks that a young man picks her up before, that's love. That's the fruit. That's the fruit, but that's not the foundation. You need to know what the foundation of love is.
Sure. I want to add this other thought too. Shout out to Pastor, I believe it's Lamar Simmons, who came online and had a very in-depth conversation. And one thing he said that actually, when she was talking, reminded me of, number one, he actually talked about how he even had this type of foundation himself, and how God had heavily convicted him, and he went back long before this incident happened, and he went back and apologized to the women in his church, and how God told him, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but God told him that, you're adding to the struggle of the pregnancy. What you're doing is causing further damage and further effect. And he just talked about how we should treat people. And I think, again, people think this is a license to, it gives people room to do whatever. No, I just think we have to handle each other better, right? And it was just a really beautiful huge moment of transparency that he offered to everybody to say, you know, the man is just doing what he's doing because this is how he thinks God is, because God of the New Testament was harder. He was, quote unquote, a little bit cruel. And he said, you know, people a lot of times think that's what they're doing and that's what they are. So I think a lot of it comes from lack of knowledge. Just as this is what's always worked. That doesn't mean it's right, but this is what's always worked. And again, people don't see the remnant or the domino effect. I'm sorry, the domino effect actually is the word of this kind of moment. And that's my actual concern for the young lady. So
Yeah.
That's good stuff. I appreciate all the comments, all the love, all the concern. Listen, we're not out of conversation, but we're merely only out of time. Listen, we got to get out of here to the next time on this same Shop Talk Network and time. On behalf of Yolanda Morant in Charlotte, North Carolina, Ashlyn Cole in Hercules of California, Demetrius Hunter in the ATL of Georgia. My name is Demetrius Tollfree. To the next time on this same Shop Talk Network at this same Shop Talk time, I'll